I'm going to tell you something today that might save you tens of thousands of dollars and, more importantly, years of heartache. I'm Carol, and for 24 years I practiced as a retirement and estate planning attorney in Scottsdale, Arizona. I helped over 600 families transition into retirement. And I'm going to be straight with you. One of the most common mistakes I watched smart, careful, hard-working people make over and over and over again was this beautiful dream that turned into a legal nightmare. I'm talking about buying into a 55-plus community. Right now, across the United States, there are more than 3,000 age-restricted 55 and over communities. And the brochures are gorgeous. Pickleball courts, heated pools, a clubhouse with granite countertops, neighbors who are just like you. Boy, I get it. My husband David and I actually toured 3 of them before we retired last October. We were this close to signing. But here's the thing. Before you sign anything, I need you to sit with me for the next 15 minutes. Because there are 5 specific legal realities about 55-plus communities that nobody at the sales office is ever going to explain to you in plain English. They're buried in documents that run 200, 300 pages long. I used to read these covenants for a living, and I cannot tell you how many of my clients came back to me a year, 2 years, 3 years later, in tears. Not because they weren't happy in the community, but because they were legally trapped. So stay with me on this. I'm not here to tell you 55-plus communities are evil. I'm here to tell you what your real estate agent, what your broker, what the HOA president isn't going to tell you. And if you're still considering buying, you'll walk away with a checklist of exactly what to look for before you sign. Let me explain why this matters to you. Let me take you back to 2014. I had a client named Margaret. She was 68, a retired schoolteacher from Minneapolis, and her husband Ron was 70. They walked into my office one fall afternoon with a glossy folder from a 55-plus community down in Sun City, Arizona. Margaret's eyes were lit up like a Christmas tree. She was showing me the amenities list. 3 pools, fitness center, art classes, woodworking shop, bocce ball leagues. You name it, they had it. And I remember Ron looking at me and saying, "Carol, this is the dream. We worked our whole lives for this. Our kids are grown, our grandkids are in Minnesota, and we just want to enjoy our golden years in the sunshine with people our own age." You know what? I nodded. Because I get it. That's the dream that's been sold to our generation since the 1960s, when Del Webb built the original Sun City. It's wrapped up in every retirement magazine, every AARP article, every real estate ad aimed at us. The pitch is simple. You earned this. You deserve this. Move somewhere where you don't have to worry about loud neighbors, college kids, teenagers blasting music. Move somewhere where everyone gets it. And on paper, it sounds perfect. A gated community, uniform rules, manicured lawns, a board of homeowners just like you making the decisions. No neighbor disputes, peace, predictability, community. Here's the thing, though. That picture in the brochure is what they sell you. It's real estate marketing at its finest, and it is designed to appeal to the exact emotional moment you're in right now. You're 60, 62, 65 years old. You're tired of mowing the lawn. You're tired of worrying about the roof. Your neighbours have kids who play drums. You want out. You want a soft landing. And the 55-plus community offers you that soft landing in the most seductive way possible. But I learned this the hard way by watching 600-plus clients navigate this decision. The legal architecture underneath that brochure is unlike anything most of us have ever signed in our lives, not even close. When you buy a house in a regular neighbourhood, you own it. When you buy in a 55-plus community, sure, you own it, but you also sign away a stack of rights that would make your younger self's eyes water. And most people don't read the documents. They can't. They're hundreds of pages. The closing is scheduled. You're excited. You trust the process. So before Margaret and Ron signed, I said, let me look at your CC&Rs. Let me look at the bylaws. Let me look at the age verification policy. Let me look at the financial reserve study. And what I found in those documents, I'm going to share with you today. So, let's dive into this. Reason number 1. I mean, this is the big one, and hardly anybody talks about it openly. It's the CC&Rs. Covenants, conditions, and restrictions. That's the legal document that governs almost every single thing you can and cannot do in a 55-plus community. And I mean everything. Let me give you a flavour. In Margaret and Ron's community, the CC&Rs said you could not change the colour of your front door without board approval. You could not plant a rosebush higher than 36 inches. You could not park a registered, insured, functional car in your own driveway overnight more than 3 consecutive nights. You could not display an American flag larger than a specific size. You could not put a bird feeder in the backyard without written permission because, quote, it attracts wildlife. You see what I'm saying, right? You're 70 years old. You've worked 45 years. You just bought a $420,000 house, and you can't put up a bird feeder. I had another client, Gloria, who was fined $1,200 over 18 months because her outdoor Christmas lights were still up on January 11th. January 11th. She was 74 years old. Her husband had just passed away. She hadn't taken them down because she couldn't get on the ladder. Nobody offered to help. Just the fine notices in her mailbox. That's reason 1. The CC&Rs are not guidelines. They're enforceable contracts. The HOA board has legal authority to fine you, place liens on your property, and in extreme cases, force a sale of the home you thought was yours. Boy, that last one shocks people. But it's real. Reason number 2. The Housing for Older Persons Act, or HOPA. This is federal law. It requires a 55-plus community to maintain at least 80% of its units with at least one person aged 55 or older. Here's where it gets personal. Let's say you and your spouse, you're both 68, you buy in. Beautiful. Years go by. Your spouse passes away. God forbid, but it happens. Now let's say your adult daughter, who's 48, loses her job, gets divorced, goes through something awful. She wants to come stay with you for a year, maybe longer. In most 55-plus communities, she cannot legally live there. Period. End of sentence. The community has to enforce the 80-20 rule to keep its federal exemption. If she violates the age restriction, the board can legally remove her. I had a client, Frank, 72, widowed. His son, 42, went through a brutal divorce and needed somewhere to land. The HOA sent a legal letter within 4 weeks. His son had to leave. Frank told me, "Carol, I own this house. I own it. And I can't even have my own son live with me." I mean, that's a legal reality you need to understand before you sign. Your home stops being fully yours. It becomes partially the community's. And here's the thing I learned watching 600 clients. Life does not go the way we plan it. Spouses get sick. Adult kids go through crises. Grandchildren sometimes need a place to land. When you buy into a 55-plus community, you are locking yourself out of the flexibility to help the people you love most. You are signing that away. Does that make sense? Stay with me, because reasons 3, 4, and 5, these are the ones that hit people in the wallet. Reason number 3, special assessments. When you tour a 55-plus community, the sales agent will tell you your monthly HOA fee. Let's say it's $380 a month. That's for amenities, landscaping, pool maintenance, the clubhouse. Sounds reasonable, right? Especially in Arizona, where honestly it's not that bad. But here's what they don't emphasize. That $380 is the baseline. It is not the ceiling. When the roof on the clubhouse needs replacement, when the pool needs resurfacing, when the main gate motor burns out, when the community needs to repave 11 miles of internal roads, the HOA can levy a special assessment. And special assessments are not capped by federal law in most states. I've seen special assessments of $4,000, $8,000, $12,000 hit homeowners with 30 days' notice. I had a client, Beatrice, 79 years old, living on $2,400 a month from Social Security and a small pension. Her community levied an $11,000 special assessment for emergency roof repairs. She didn't have $11,000. She had to take out a home equity loan at age 79. She told me she cried for a week. And a lot of these communities, were built in the 90s, the early 2000s. Those pools and clubhouses and entry gates, they're aging. The reserves are often underfunded. A 2023 industry study found that over 60% of HOA communities nationally are underfunded on their reserves. Which means when the bill comes due, it comes right to your mailbox, right when you're on a fixed income. Reason number 4, guest restrictions and grandchildren. This one breaks my heart every time I explain it. Most 55-plus communities have strict rules about how long guests under 55 can stay. Some are as strict as 14 days per calendar year. Some allow 30, some allow 90. You have to read the bylaws. But think about this. My granddaughter Emma, she's 7. Noah is 5. Baby Olivia is 8 months. If I lived in a strict 55-plus community and my kids wanted to send the grandkids for the summer, 6 weeks in June and July, in a lot of communities, that's legally prohibited. The HOA can fine the homeowner. Think about that. You move to this community to be closer to your grandkids, or to have a peaceful home to host them in. And you find out you can only have them stay 2 weeks a year. I had a client, Helen. She chose her community specifically because it was halfway between her 2 daughters. Within a year, she realized her grandkids couldn't spend the whole summer with her. She ended up selling and moving to a regular neighborhood. That sale That's reason 5. Reason number 5. Resale. 55-plus communities are a narrower market than regular homes. By law, you can only sell to someone who qualifies under the age restriction. You just cut your buyer pool by probably 70% right off the top. In a downturn, boy, I watched the 2008 housing crash. The 55-plus communities in Arizona and Florida took the worst hits. Some homeowners watched property values drop 40% and sit on the market for 18 months. Because the buyer pool is smaller, slower, and more conservative. And when you're 75 years old and you need to move, whether for health reasons, to be near family, to downsize again, you don't have 18 months. You need to sell fast. And a home that should be worth $410,000 becomes $340,000 because the community is half empty and the HOA fees have gone up and the clubhouse has a leaky roof. You see what I'm saying? So here's the thing. I'm not telling you to never buy in a 55-plus community. I have friends who love theirs. Some of these communities are wonderful. What I'm telling you, and this is coming from 24 years of reading these documents, is that before you sign anything, you have to do 5 things. First, get the CC&Rs and the bylaws and read every single page. If you can't, hire an attorney for 3 hours. I mean it. 3 hours of attorney review could save you $20,000 of regret. Second, ask for the reserve study. Any legitimate 55-plus community has one. It tells you how financially healthy the HOA really is. If they can't produce it, or they hedge, walk away. Walk. Third, ask specifically about the guest policy in writing. How long can grandchildren stay? What about an adult child in crisis? What about a caregiver who's under 55? Get the answer in writing before you close. Fourth, look at the age verification protocol. What happens if your spouse dies? What happens if you want your 50-year-old sister to move in? Understand the 80-20 rule for your specific community. Fifth, look at the resale history. Ask the sales office for the last 24 months of data. Average days on market. Average discount from asking price. If they won't share it, that tells you something. And here's the bigger picture, the thing I really want you to walk away with. Ask yourself, why do I want to move to a 55-plus community? Is it the amenities? Is it the community? Or is it the idea of the community? Because a lot of my clients, what they really wanted was connection. They wanted friends. They wanted purpose. And they bought a house thinking the house would give them that. But a house doesn't give you community. People give you community. You can build that in a regular neighborhood. You can build that in a downsized condo near your grandkids. You can build that in a different city entirely. I remember when I did the math on my own 65th birthday. I figured I had, if I was lucky, 800 to 1,000 healthy, active weeks left. That's it. And I asked myself, do I want to spend those weeks in a community with pickleball courts and bylaws that fine me for a bird feeder? Or do I want to spend them in the house I already own, with my family nearby, with the freedom to welcome whoever I love, whenever I choose? David and I chose differently. But I want you to make your own choice with your eyes wide open. This is educational content. It is not legal or financial advice. I don't know your specific situation. Work with an attorney and a financial advisor who does. But boy, before you sign those CC&Rs, pause. Read them. Ask the hard questions. And remember, you can always make more money. You cannot make more time. Don't waste the youth of your senior years locked into a contract you didn't fully read. Thank you for sitting with me today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.